Okay, so we're going to be getting the classic Boeing 247 out for a test job today. So we got just 50 kilograms or about 130 something pounds on here. So we're going to go ahead and get everything started. All right. So we are going to first get our parking brake turned on, then get the master ignition switch pushed in, get the magneto set to both. We're going to draw from the main fuel tank. We're going to change drawing the fuel to both engines at once. Propeller pitches full forward. Let's get the mixtures in full forward. We're going to crack the throttle here. And we're going to have the oil shutter and the oil shutters all the way open, and then for the carburetor shutters all the way closed. So that way it we get good heat in the engines, and that doesn't seize up. So we're going to first start the left engine and then turn the fuel primer on, and we're going to give it about 3 squirts. All right, so that's 3. Let's go ahead and wind up the left engine here. Get also the mastery battery switch on. All right, and then while they're getting ready, let's get the wobble pump up for 5 psi. There we go, it's catching. Just a little more throttle. I don't know if it's just loud or maybe it is just loud. Alright, let's go ahead and start winding up. Oh wait, no, we gotta prime it. We're gonna put about 4 squirts of fuel in here, because kind of seemed like it took a little bit for it to catch. Just checking that the controls are free and floating. Alright, winding up. Just keep an eye on it. And I usually like to wait till about 30% with them winding it up, because it seems like as soon as the mesh wheel comes up, it doesn't really work. Trying to keep the fuel pressure at 5. We're not going to worry about the other engine. And And the weight and balance has already been done, so everything's loaded up. It's some sensitive cargo. Let's turn this off, because we don't need that anymore. Alright. Alright, so left is going on strong. Let's get some more throttle in the right engine here, just to let it really catch on. And while that's happening, we should have, let me check the fuel. Yeah, okay. Also, let's get my GPS. Since the plane doesn't have its own GPS, okay, so that's fine. We'll get ATC up in here somewhere. So the second engine's just falling behind a little bit, but I think it should be okay. Oil temperature is looking good, looking very good, and also oil pressure is looking good. Fuel pressure is still looking good. Let's go ahead and get the master avionics turned on. Crystal switches for the radio. So we don't need the radio light switch, but let's go ahead and turn the radio on. And keeping the beacon radio off because it just lets out a nasty buzz. And I don't know, maybe we could put ATC down here. Should be fine. Can I adjust I can't really see the altimeter setting down there, so I guess I won't worry about that. Maybe ATC won't work. Let's say the radio should be on. Well, it looks like we'll just keep it super old school. Alright, let's turn off the parking brake. And then we'll get on the brakes and then have our crew take off the chunks. There we go. There we go. Alright, so brakes work. Let's get this thing taxied off to the runway. I thought I saw the windsock. Yeah, okay, so this is the right way. Okay. Quite a beast this is. I'm just doing a lot of rudder, a lot of differential brakes here. Step up there. Alright, got that. No damage. Just get up to the runway and then we'll depart straight out. Okay, so this is the right runway. So I can't tune to ATIS. I didn't really look at the weather reports or anything. So it looks like this is the best way to go. Nobody on final, nobody on the runway. Let's get lined up. Alright, looking good, looking good. Let's go ahead and slowly increase to the max manifold pressure. I think it's like 36 inches. Yeah, there we go. We can really start hearing this come to life. Alright, tail's already up. Let's just make sure we don't nose it into the ground here. You can see everything shaking, which is good. Alright. Looks like airspeed's alive. Let's go ahead and lift off.
Transporter from dispatch. Fly safe.
Gear up. Alright, gear up. Positive rate of climb. Perfect. Alright, so where's my vertical speed? Okay, there it is. So we're not going to do anything too crazy with the climb. Then let's start turning to get on course here, and probably should get some lights turned on. That's cabin lights, courtesy lights, compass light, instrument lights. Do I not have these landing lights? What's this? Cabin lights. Landing lights. I don't have beacon lights or anything in here. I thought I did. That's okay. Alright. So oil temperature still looking fantastic here. Oil pressure looking good. Fuel pressure as well looking good. Let's get on course. So we are going to India 6-1, Indiana. I think that's around Muncie? Mumford? Something like that. And just again delivering some sensitive cargo. Still on a climb. Since we're going north west, we'll have an even altitude, so if we make it to 4,500 feet, that'll be good. And we'll level out at 4,500. So we'll also just slowly ease off the propeller pitch. We'll go to about 2,200 RPM, or no, it's 2,000 RPM. Alright, about 2,000 RPM. We'll increase the throttle a little bit to get it right up on the red line there. Should be about 36 inches. Again, just making sure oil temperature and oil pressure are looking good. Oil is life in here, so. Still in a pretty good climb. We are about, oh wait, no, we are 4,500 feet, so let's go ahead and level off. That went pretty fast. I know it looks like a nose down attitude, but, man. It's kind of, that is what it looks like, nose down. Now we've about leveled off here. Let's continue to decrease propellers down to 20 RPM. for 2000. Maybe we should let off the, what do you call, manifold pressure just a little bit. So I think we should be at 32 inches, I want to say. Let's ease off the mixture just a little bit. And I'm just constantly trimming here. See, I'm just trying to see how. Anyway, okay, let's get that back up. Alright, so now we're back down to 4,500 roundabout. Just monitoring vertical climb just to see where the trim should be at. Because the plane is kind of slow to respond. Now the cool thing about this airplane is, as you can see, everything is shaking and jiggling, everything is vibrating off the engines, of course. A lot of the instruments are very much influenced by the outside air density, the air pressure, suction pressure, as you can see with the fuel gauges just going wild right now, as well as oil temperature fluctuating a lot, oil pressure fluctuating a lot with these steam gauges. Is just very much what I've seen just flying airplanes in real life. A lot of similarities. It makes it feel real. Like, this is the one plane that feels like I'm flying, like how smooth it is, even though we'll get some tough spots of air, but by and large, how smooth it's flying, how it doesn't jitter around a lot. Very much what I experienced, not with this airplane, but just in general. So flew off quite a bit off course. I wasn't paying attention, I was just really trying to see where the trim should be. We'll get back on course here. So I'd say one of the crazy high fidelity airplanes of Microsoft Flight Simulator that's out there right now is this one, the Boeing Wing 42, Boeing 247D. I think very well done, just by the way everything feels. And how all the instruments, they're just all over the place. So right here we have our cylinder temperature, which is kind of hot, but that's okay. And this should be carburetor temp. And all these other temperature gauges are, or all these other cylinders are not implemented / not installed for those sensors. So there's another carburetor for the left engine, and then 2 cylinders. I can't remember what numbers they are. So everything's looking good where it's set at right now. We could probably open the carburetors just a little bit. Just get some left aileron trim in there. Just getting very minimal nose up trim because we are descending, but not very fast. Alright, so we're going at about 160 265 miles per hour. Not too bad. As you can see, we're getting some rough air, kind of jiggling around a little bit. And it will probably do the approach from the same way, approach from about the northeast. There should be a runway that'll accommodate us in that way. Alright. So using this GPS, so there's I-61, which I believe that's what I wanted it. Maybe it's a grass strip. I'll have to do a flyby and see. But once I get about, I guess, 35 nautical miles, somewhere in there, within that range, I'll start my descent. Just one more little touch of left aileron trim. So I'm noticing I'm rolling to the right just a little bit, and we're getting back on course here. Engine's still looking good. RPM and manifold pressure still looking good. The turn and slip indicator is just going nuts. We should be getting back on course here. Alright, so I did fly a lot with the Cessna 337, got it back to the main base where all the other aircraft were located. And then also too, I did make another purchase for the company and sold the Cub that I've got. I sold the Cub, but then also took out a loan, bought the Cessna 310, and this is the Milviz, I believe that's what it is, Milviz Cessna 310. So that'll be interesting to see, because that one has something like this where it's persistent, but even though this is persistent, it doesn't have persistent wear and tear, I don't think. I mean, it does kind of have, like, the fuses that you see in the fuse box, those will pop and you'll need to replace those from time to time, but in general, like the wear and tear, there's no feature like that. So then the Cessna 337 will kind of take a backseat for a little bit and just see how the 310 goes, because that's the one that's really going to give a real alive feeling to the aircraft, kind of like this, but also with all the systems and all the circuits, all the electrical systems, the avionics, all the parts that are in it, wear and tear and can fail over time. So that'll be nice to have and maintain. So I thought Kilo Romeo India Delta, the one that I'm looking at right now, I thought that this was the one I was headed to, but I think it's a grass strip. And if it is a grass strip, then it is, I think the 3,900 feet, which is more than enough for this plane to get in and land and also to get out of. And then I didn't find anything in the market to sell to India 61. Because with the India 61, I was getting paid more and I got to pay off this loan, so I've got to work real hard to get the money here in a week and pay the loan off. So I guess that's the due date that the system gave. Right. And also something that's really neat is the altimeter. Again, it's just measuring what's on the outside. And of course the air fluctuates in density, especially in weather like this where it's warm. It was about, I think, 60 something, 70 degrees outside, and as you hit pockets of air, cool air, warm air, the air density fluctuates, so that's why this fluctuates too. And if I remember right, there should be a what do you call them? I was just listening to the engines, they start to sound a little bit different, and I start to get concerned. Because fuel pressure still looks good, oil temperature still looks really good, fuel is still looking good, RPM and manifold pressure is still looking good, so maybe it's just me getting paranoid. Okay. So I'm kind of hovering around 4,500 feet. Just small power changes, small power changes. Okay, so should be on track for the most part. No real aircraft that I'm going to be colliding with. If I just see one up front and then one off to my right here, they all look way lower than me, so I should be fine. Yeah, again, this very smooth controls. Not jittery, not bouncy. Not squirrely. Now ground handling, I don't know, because I have to put in a lot of rudder, put in a lot of brakes in order to get this thing to swing around the way I need it to. So I don't know if that's true to life or not. That's like the only thing that I feel is a little sluggish, is just taxiing on the ground. Everything else seems good. So let's zoom in for 35 miles, and once I see India 61 pop in on the GPS, I'll start the descent. Lots of flat farmland out here, much different than southeastern Ohio. Now we're getting into northwest Ohio, crossing into Indiana, which is fairly flat and lots of farmland. Barely having to touch the controls, really. And also constantly adjusting trim. I see him at about 4,700 feet, and I want to stick around 4,500. Probably could have leveled out at 65, but the trip was so short anyway that didn't feel the need to climb that high. We'll see how much fuel burn we got. Actually, let me just make sure, because this should be the big one. Alright, about 50 pounds of fuel. Alright, and what about the smaller one? So the right tank is empty, but then the left tank, just to make sure, okay, left tank is full of fuel. So that'd be the auxiliary. Or no. Let me get my clipboard. This one should be the auxiliary, and then this should be the main tanks, right? Interesting. So left one should be the largest tank, which I'm pulling from right now, and then the right one is the smaller tank, and then the auxiliary tank is another small tank. I think the auxiliary, or the right and the small, are around 75 pounds, 75 gallons, and then the left should be something like 130 something, 136 gallons. Whoops. Let's start the descent, I guess. Yeah, I forgot to descend. Whoops. Let's take out the power a little bit. Start our descent, because we are just about over our destination. I want to get about 1,900 feet. So we'll make a lazy turn here. Actually, we'll go out just a little bit farther and then make a lazy turn. Alright, so oil temperature, oil pressure still looking good. Start our lazy turn. See what I mean? Not a lot of, it's not very bouncy. It's very, very smooth. Very smooth. When I look out, looks just like it does when I have flown some smaller general aviation aircraft. I think that's it, where that large building is. That might be where it's at. But let me make sure. Maybe I should have started the descent when I saw it was at 50 nautical miles. Okay, so it looks like it should be like off my wing somewhere. Maybe that's it. Yep, I think that's it. Of course, I'm coming in too fast and too high for me to get an approach, so let's get just a flyover just to see what I'm dealing with. Should be it. That patch of land right there. I've got a little gust there. Now this plane doesn't have any flaps. There's so much wing, as you can see. These wings are huge, and they give you so much lift that you really don't need any flaps. So you just kind of ease it in with the gear. Down. Yeah, that's it. So this is the approach that I want to take, because if I try to land the way they want me to into the buildings, it's going to be a tailwind, and I'm going to be floating quite a lot. So I'm just giving some power. I know it looks like I'm fairly low. I am. but I want to keep this a pretty shallow approach here. Also want to bleed off some speed so I can get the gear down. And get some trim in as well. So I'm going to use this city. I'm pointing like you can see my finger. I'll get this city over here. This is going to be my turning point from to base and then on base to final. I think that should be reasonable. Alright, so let's get our turn in to base and then let's get the gear down as well. This is gonna give me tons of drag. Tons of drag. Alright, let's swing this bad boy around. Alright, we're just shaking because we got the landing gear in the wind. A little bit of power because I'm sinking a bit much. Maybe we can ease off the power. Actually, let's get a little more power. Alright, let's just give it some power. Lots of power. Just to keep afloat here. Alright. Ease off the power. Actually gonna go back to idle. Because it made the runway. And let's level it off here. And just let it sit.
Transporter from dispatch. Go to the parking so we can check the cargo status.
So you couldn't even tell that it was on the ground, could you? That's how great this plane is. Right. Let's get the brakes in, let's swing her around. Look at that. Boeing 247 for the win, guys. Boeing 247 for the win. That's why I love this plane. I've never had a bad landing with this plane, ever. Because it just mirrors so close to what I'm kind of used to. I don't know. It just seems like the most alive aircraft that I've got in my collection. Make sure I'm not going to run into any buildings and park it in a respectable place. I'm gonna swing it. Oh, is that a baseball diamond? I like this. I like this airfield. Grass strip, kind of in the woods. Maybe I should set up an FBO here. This is nice. I like it. India 61, man. And we'll just pull up and get off the runway. pull up by the baseball diamond and alright, let's get it back to idle and slowly get the pressure on the brakes. Excellent. Turn on the parking brake.
Transporter. Cargo unloading in progress. Stand by, pilot.
Let's get the trucks. Yeah, we went to the wrong one. Okay, so looks like it swapped how much fuel I've got here.
Transporter. Another cargo mission well done. Thanks and see you soon.
Because here's the big one. It's got something like 40 gallons in there. And then the left one is practically full. And then the right one has got nothing in it. Yep, see? So yeah, so this is the auxiliary, this one over here, auxiliary, and then this is left, or the right tank, right main, that's another 70 gallons, and then main tank, which is, okay, now it says it's about 49, 50 gallons? My clipboard. Okay, whatever. You know, it's trying to pull from, it's trying to pull, I guess, from the weight and balance. I guess. Anyway. While they're unloading that, let's go ahead and kill the engines. We're just going to kill the mixture. Alright, everything stopped shaking, as you can see. All that stuff's good. We're going to keep everything as is. Don't need GPS anymore. Alright, and because this is a persistent aircraft, we got to strap things down appropriately. So we turn off the magnetos, turn that off, turn the engine distribution off to nothing, turn that off. For the fuel selector, turn off all the power, turn off the avionics. Are they done? Yeah, they're done unloading. So turn that off. Alright, until next time.